Welcome to the Honeymoon Mindset Podcast. Even with kids, you can have a honeymoon mindset. We are your hosts,
Kimberly Mullen.
and James Deppa. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Honeymoon Mindset with Kids. We have our co-star back, Kimberly. How are you doing, Kimberly?
Great, James. Thank you. How are you?
Doing good. How was your
Good.
surprise vacation?
It was, it had its ups and downs, but yeah, Matthew came home um, about a week and a half ago and said, "Surprise, we're going on vacation. In 2 days, we leave for the beach for a week," which was awesome. And at the same time, it's the beach in Oregon, so it rained almost every day. But you know what? It was still so good to just hear the waves and be near the ocean again.
Mm-hmm.
The kids loved it, the dogs loved it, and we did get like 2 really good days that we were able to, even though it was cold, we were bundled up, we got to play and have the waves splash around. So, yeah, it was pretty exciting. And, it's a family of five, so it had its ups and downs. There were some moments of fighting and this and that, but overall, it was good.
With the younger kids, that's natural, normal.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's good. So we're
Yeah, it
coming
was
up.
fun.
Yeah, that's good. I'm glad. Excited. That time away is always a great bonding and just to get away and take a break from everything once in a while. Helps keep
Absolutely.
things in perspective.
And the
And,
cabin had no internet, so it was board games and
oh, fun.
connection time.
Yeah. Yep. And reset that brain to keep you moving forward.
Mhm.
Speaking of moving forward, Kimberly, we're coming up to the
Yes.
first of the year.
Yes, we are.
There's a lot of people out there, and you're probably one of them. I'm one of them too, that are getting into the mood of thinking of what they want to accomplish next year, setting goals,
Mhm.
and making New Year's resolutions. I don't make New Year's resolutions because they never come true. They never.
Yeah, I don't either. Never have.
Yeah. So the question is, do kids or should kids set goals?
Absolutely. I grew up, didn't have a clue what a goal even was. My mom, single mom of seven, was doing her best just to live paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
And sometimes, she had 3 jobs at a time, and she just had no time for dreaming and setting big goals and all that. And it was never taught or passed down to me. My dad was a bit of an entrepreneur, but
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see that side of him. I did a little bit, but not the behind the scenes. Like, he did real estate where he flipped houses, and sometimes
Right.
he'd bring me to a house that he bought or something. But he never sat down and explained the goal setting or any of that to me, or how to run a business or anything like that.
Right.
And as he got older, what I saw was him sitting in his recliner watching the news and reading the newspaper all day and not understanding where his passive income was coming from or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I never got taught it. And now, as an adult, learning about SMART goals and learning about um, just dreaming big and
Mm-hmm.
having goals and how to break them down so you can really work towards them. I'm now
Right.
understanding how to teach them to my kids.
Yeah.
And a huge part of that is, since I wasn't taught how to do it, when I'd be like told to dream big, I'd be like, okay, well, I have this huge thing I want to do. Oh, but that
Mm-hmm.
seems so far fetched. How would I ever do that? Okay, never mind.
Right.
And
Right.
let that dream go, because nobody ever explained to me how to, okay, you have this huge dream. How long do you think that's going to take you to get there? How can you break that down into what you can do? If it's a year-long goal, what can you do every month? Then
Right.
break that down into weekly, break it down into daily.
Yep. Yep.
Nobody taught me that.
No. And then there for a while there, what was it? Probably 10, 15 years ago, they're saying don't set lofty goals for a while there because you'll
Hmm.
never get to achieve them. Make goals short and small and easy. How do you feel about
Right.
that?
I understand the mindset behind it of, well, if you're not going to get there, then you'll feel bad about yourself and it will bring you down and then you'll just give up.
Right.
I understand that mindset. What I think is that it's really important to put your mindset in check of, okay, have these big goals, break them down
Mm-hmm.
into how to get to them step by step. Because if you do each small step, you're getting further every day. And okay, so say I set this year goal. At the end of the year, I didn't achieve it. I could very easily say, well, screw it, I didn't achieve it, I'm a failure. But if you have the right mindset of, well, let me look back, see how far I did come, I'm so much further than I was when I set that goal.
Right.
And be proud of the steps you did take and how far you did come. And
Right.
it's okay if it takes you a little longer to get to the end goal, if
Mm-hmm.
you have to push it out a little further. Or even if you never get to that, maybe you found a different path along the way where you're like, oh, that isn't actually what I want in the long run. This is what I want.
Right.
It's all about being proud of how far you did come instead of not going anywhere at all.
Yeah. When I looked at that or heard that, it's like, well, then what's the point of setting goals? If they're so small and so easy to accomplish. What's
Right.
the point? It was unproductive for me, so it's like I never really set any goals.
Hmm.
And like you said, when you have those big goals and you break them down, then it becomes doable. It becomes achievable, attainable.
Right.
And the other thing
Right.
that you said is you need to stop once in a while, reevaluate your big goal,
Hmm.
and also look back and see where you've come. Because
That's
sometimes
key.
you may not think it's going as well, but when you look back, it's like,
Exactly.
holy cow, look what I've done, look what I've accomplished.
Even just in my daily goals, there are times where I'm like, I've been up for 5 hours and I don't feel
Mm-hmm.
like I've accomplished anything. But because I've written them down and I've checked them off, I look and
Yep.
I'm like, oh, I have checked at least three things off. So why am I down on myself because I haven't checked them all off in this 5 hours?
Yep.
Like, if I didn't write them down, would I have done any of them?
Yeah.
No.
That's what I did Monday. I made this huge list, and Beth is like, oh, that's a big list. It's like, I know. I don't know how I'm going to get it done. It seems like the one thing, oh, I was recording the show for this past Monday. It's like, okay, I had problems with the soundboard. I had problems with the computer. It's like, okay, this is taking 3 hours for a half-hour project.
Right.
But then I kept myself busy with other things I needed to do for my employee.
Oh,
And later
nice.
in the day, it's like, wait a minute, I got this done. I need to check this off, this off, that off. It's like, okay, I got a lot more done than I realized.
You feel good. And
Yeah.
then there are days, like you just said, something took you longer than you expected. So, this one day I had like, I always have a bunch of little things on my list as well, but I had like three main big things.
Right.
And I started with one of them, and it took me so many hours longer than I thought it would
Oh,
that I
yeah.
never made it to the other two. But I didn't beat myself up. I was like, okay, well, that took 4 hours of my day, and I'm not a single mom. I'm a stay-at-home mom
Right.
of three kids. My husband's at work. I think I did good.
Mm-hmm.
I
Not,
accomplished that one thing, and the other two things will just get moved to tomorrow's list.
plus, we got to mention, Kimberly, 3 active kids.
Yes, very,
They're sweet
very
as all
active.
get out, that's for sure. But
Mm-hmm.
and a full a stay-at-home mom is a full-time job. I'll
100%.
I'll fight anybody who wants to argue that one.
100%. And so these are all like added bonuses when I'm getting stuff done on top of that, right?
Yep. The
So
other
I was
thing
happy to
people,
check that one big thing off.
yeah, as you and I both were just saying, is even as we make goals, our daily goals, or
Hmm.
your to-do list, as we also want to call them,
Yeah,
it's like you got to also realize that life happens, things come up, things change, and
absolutely.
like you and I just both said, sometimes some things take longer, not because it's a hard task to do, it's just
Right.
things happen, or something doesn't go the way it is or the way it
My
was
computer
expect.
kept booting me off, and I'd have to start from scratch. It is what it is.
Yeah, that's where even in some of my mastermind groups are like, if you have a list of 10 things, if you get 3 or 4 done, you've already
Pat yourself
accomplished
on
a
the
lot.
back. Exactly.
Pat yourself on the
Exactly.
back. Don't expect to get all 10. Your to-do list is things that to help keep you focused and keep you driven.
Right.
Same like
And I,
same with like what
uh,
you're saying with your goal. When you break it down and you go back, you look at it, and if things are going away, that's where you have to readjust.
absolutely. And I find if I write down 10 things and I get three, four, five of them done, that's three, four, five more things got done that I may not have gotten done at all if I didn't write down the list.
Oh yes,
Because writing down the list does, like you just said, keywords, keeps you focused.
right.
So you go back to it and you're like, okay, what can I feasibly accomplish off this now that I checked that one off?
Mm-hmm.
Keeps you going.
Oh
And
yes.
then you find it like, wow, I'm achieving so much more than I ever thought I could.
Mm-hmm.
Because I used to be like, I got 3 active kids. There's nothing else happening in my day.
Right, right.
But I'm starting, so I decided to do this with the kids too, because it's been a long time. Like I kind of got out of the habit of writing down the daily quote unquote to do list.
Right.
And about 2 weeks ago, I was like, you know what? 2.5 weeks ago, I would say, I was like, I want to start doing that again because I'm much more motivated because it makes me feel damn good, to be honest,
Right, it
to do that
does.
little check mark. It's my reward to just be able to check it off. And I was like, you know what? I feel like the kids and I have gotten lost lately. We've gotten off track.
Mm-hmm.
We homeschool, but we do it in a very unconventional way,
Right.
in that we don't have a set time we have to be on any Zoom calls. We don't have a set curriculum we do. And so I felt like we were all getting a little bit lost in what do we do each day? We wake up with no set goal in mind, no set
Mm-hmm.
routine. And I love that. And I don't want to feel lost. And so I was like, all right, we need to start doing this again. We had done it once before and we started traveling and kind of got out of the mode of it. So
Right.
I was like, every night we sit down now and each of us write out our list of things we want to accomplish the next day. And I'm very, I make sure they're very aware that if they don't check everything off, that that's okay,
Mm-hmm.
that they know to not shame themselves, feel bad about themselves, because at the end of the next day, we then go through that list and say, okay, what did we get done? What
Mm-hmm.
what can go on? If we didn't get everything done, then let's put it on tomorrow's list.
Right. So
And
sorry
go
to
ahead.
interrupt you, Kim. So
No,
as you're
you're
going
totally
through
fine.
this list, do they get to prioritize which ones that absolutely have to be done or get done, so they
They
learn how to focus on the more important tasks that they put on their list?
they absolutely do. And of course, because they're so young, they don't have this big like year goal. It's like every day, like, okay, what could I do today? Just to get them started in that routine of checking tasks off and understanding in the long run how that's going to move them forward. So yes, excuse me, they get to do that, and they get to do, like, for example, my middle daughter has been making Christmas cards for all her friends and family.
Mm-hmm.
So she started just putting, oh, put Christmas cards on my list. So we started breaking that down more. Like, how many specifically would you like to make tomorrow? Instead of
Mm-hmm.
just writing Christmas cards, do you want to get 3 of them done, four of
Mm-hmm.
them done? And let her know. Okay, if you put 3 down and you only get 2 done, there's nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
If you put 3 done and you get 4 done, woohoo, yay, bonus.
Right.
But how many do you want to set the goal for? Just so they start getting a little more specific with their goals.
Right. That's good.
Yeah, and so I've been really happy with that. And so at the end of the night, when we go through the list and see what we did get done, we also go around and say one thing we're grateful for from that day.
That's good.
And it has to be pretty specific instead of just, I'm grateful for my family and my dogs and my life, which
Yeah.
is wonderful, beautiful things to be grateful for, right? But I want them to be very specific on it has to have happened today. Are you
Right.
grateful you got to play freeze tag with your friends? Are you grateful you got your Christmas cards done you wanted to get done? No matter what it is.
Right.
Yesterday was my son's birthday. He was grateful for birthday gifts. That's that makes sense.
Yep.
So it just I like it to be a little more specific to that day. And
Right.
um oh, I lost my train of thought.
Specific
Anyway,
goals or great gratitude for something specific that happened during the day.
right. It was going to be something about this is where I was going to go. I noticed the hugest shift in the mood in the house.
Oh, really?
So we did it for 1 week straight, and it got to a point like my plan when I decided this is what we're going to start doing was we'll do it Monday through Friday. Dad's at work. We'll take weekends off. We'll just enjoy family time and not stress over we have to have goals on the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So we started on Monday. We got to Friday. We went through our list of what we got done that day, and then I walked away. And my middle child came to me and said, Mom, we didn't make our list for tomorrow. And I said, oh, I know, sweetie, it's the weekend. We can take weekends off. And she said, I don't want to. I said, oh,
Okay.
well, you are more than welcome then to let's sit down and make you a list.
Mm-hmm.
If you want weekends off, you can have weekends off. If you don't, then feel free. And I noticed she was much calmer that week. Things just really went a lot smoother for her. By the end of the week, she not only was doing the things on her list, but she was getting up without being asked to get herself dressed, without being asked to do her one chore of the day, because each of my kids each have one chore every day except for Sunday,
Right.
and which always goes on their list now. But she got up, she did her chore, she got herself dressed, she did her teeth and hair. She did things that weren't on her list. She put away the dishes from the night before that were still sitting out drying. And then she made breakfast for me and her.
Oh, cool.
None of that was on her list, but she felt motivated and
Mm-hmm.
good about herself. So, of course, she didn't want to take the weekend off because she was feeling good.
Yeah, of course.
So then, listen to what happened. We went on vacation the next week.
Right.
We didn't do it while we were on vacation. And like I said, vacation was a little bumpy with the moods and the fighting and and I sat back and I went, I think that goal setting is really, really doing wonders for the whole family as far as our moods and how we feel about ourselves. And when we feel good about ourselves, we're nicer to other people.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't wait to get back from vacation and start our lists again. And it's Thursday now, and things have gone very well.
That's good. Has your
And
husband noticed a difference?
he hasn't really been home much, and he was home all last week while we were on vacation, and he noticed the fighting.
Yeah.
And I sat him down, and I was like, you don't even understand how well last week went. And he has noticed that it's helped every child, but just particularly my middle child, because everybody's different, right?
Right. Yep.
And he did notice that she was calmer the week before compared to the week we were on vacation and out of routine.
Mm-hmm.
She obviously thrives on routine, and that's something we hadn't really picked up on with her before until implementing the routine.
Oh, yeah.
And so, no, our thing absolutely not. She had a meltdown this morning. I had a meltdown this morning.
I had
I
one
threw
too.
my back out this morning.
Ouch.
And it was 100% emotional. I was in the middle of having my own little fit, and my back just seized. And I'm like, well, yep, that makes sense. And so, no, it's not perfect. But once I went in the other room, I said, I'm going to go do a meditation. It was only a 4-minute meditation, and it made 1,000% difference in my attitude and my mood. And I came back out much calmer and could talk to her way easier. And then she calmed down, and then she got back to doing her things on her list, and life went back to being good.
Fun.
So you had your own meltdown this morning too?
Just with everything, the internet being out, it's just with
Uh-huh.
the overwhelm. It's like okay,
Yeah.
I have
What
a honeymoon
overwhelm does to
mindset.
us.
Got a honeymoon mindset. We got this. Let's move forward.
Eh, Good for you.
Let's go with the
And
flow.
sometimes you have to have a little bit of a meltdown to remind yourself, oh, wait, this isn't how I want to be. Let me get back into
Yeah,
my flow. Exactly.
exactly.
Back into the flow because I was resisting, so my muscle tightened up. It made perfect sense.
Oh
It's
yeah.
starting to loosen up as I keep relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I have found that setting these daily goals has done wonders for the family beyond what I even expected or hoped for.